Currently, the emergence of Huawei's 5G smartphones has turned into a joke for the United States after 3 years of comprehensive containment efforts. American technology companies were quick to disassemble the phones and prove that China is indeed using its own chips. With the launch of the Kirin 9000's chip, Huawei has highlighted China's determination to counter U.S. semiconductor sanctions. However, despite the undeniable evidence, the United States remains relentless, insisting that China must be using U.S. technology and is preparing to impose comprehensive sanctions on Huawei. Huawei scheduled the release of this new product during Gina Marie Raimondo's visit to China, aiming to convey to the U.S. that their attempts to encircle and suppress cannot impede the rise of Chinese technology. Although Huawei has not yet provided specific configuration parameters, the speed of network connectivity and the benchmark scores of the phones both prove that they meet the 5G standards. The U.S. sanctions have been watertight, but now Huawei has announced its return to the 5G market through concrete actions. Following this, there has been a deluge of questioning directed towards chip manufacturers and manufacturing processes. As a result, overseas testing organizations couldn't resist and obtained a new device by crossing the ocean. After undergoing tests conducted by professional institutions, it was confirmed that the device uses Chinese chips. The Huawei Mate 60 Pro, powered by the Kirin 9000's chip, is manufactured using SMIC 7nm, N+2, process. Despite the strengthened U.S. sanctions and the reduced opportunities for China to acquire advanced semiconductors, China has still made marginal progress in developing advanced semiconductors. This also means that China has managed to bypass the sanctions and successfully transition from 14nm to the next generation, which is 7nm, even in the face of U.S. restrictions on 7nm technology and equipment. Moreover, China has achieved this breakthrough using independent intellectual property rights and technological processes. Undoubtedly, this breakthrough is a heavy blow to the United States, turning their 3-year containment efforts into a joke. The shock for the United States lies in the fact that they firmly believed China was incapable of producing 7nm chips. Under U.S. sanctions, China only had access to the previous generation of lithography machines. Therefore, the United States insists that this chip was achieved through multiple exposures. Chips produced through such means have obvious drawbacks, such as low yield rates and inability for mass production. However, now Huawei's estimated shipment volume has reached 60 million units, and even overseas markets have witnessed a buying frenzy, eliminating the possibility of this being a limited production run. Nevertheless, the United States refuses to acknowledge that China has achieved this and is reluctant to admit its own mistake. Thus, the United States has adopted a different approach, insisting that China has used U.S. technology and using this as a reason to demand a comprehensive investigation by the U.S. Department of Commerce. It should be noted that 3 years ago, the United States put Huawei and numerous subsidiaries on its sanctions list, demanding that all American companies cease exporting components to Huawei. Subsequently, President Biden signed an executive order excluding Chinese equipment from U.S. communication networks. In such a heavily guarded situation, Huawei absolutely cannot obtain U.S. technology. The current claims are simply an attempt to save face. Huawei has consistently adhered to the core principles of protecting the ecosystem and commercial secrets and has not made any public, explicit statements regarding the contract manufacturers for the Kirin 9000's chip. This is done to protect the ecosystem and commercial secrets. Huawei aims to ensure the uniqueness and competitive advantage of its products through strict confidentiality measures. In the second half of 2022, there were reports that a contract manufacturer located in Shenzhen successfully completed the manufacturing process of the Kirin 9000's chip. Although this factory has remained obscure, it has demonstrated strong manufacturing capabilities. This news has led people to question whether this factory is the manufacturer of the Kirin 9000's chip. However, the truth still awaits official disclosure from Huawei. Regardless of the contract manufacturer of the Kirin 9000S chip, its performance and AI capabilities have been recognized by users. As the core processor of Huawei smartphones, the Kirin 9000S chip offers excellent performance and high-end specifications, delivering an exceptional user experience. However, for the average user, the actual performance and user experience of the smartphone chip are of greater concern than just the identity of the contract manufacturer. Users value the smoothness of the chip in daily usage, battery life, and stability, among other aspects. Huawei has always pursued the ultimate quality and technological innovation. From material selection to production processes, Huawei meticulously considers every detail to ensure that the Kirin 9000S chip can deliver optimal performance. This rigorous manufacturing process has allowed Huawei to maintain a leading position in the industry. Regardless of the contract manufacturer of the Kirin 9000S chip, Huawei has showcased the innovation and strength of the Chinese mobile communication field through this chip. With its outstanding technical capabilities and market influence, Huawei has become well known globally. Now that China has achieved technological breakthroughs, the United States should take the time to reflect on the significance of its extensive efforts to contain and rally allies, which have impacted the entire chip supply chain. However, the U.S. has intensified its actions. Led by Michael McCaul, the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, a group of 10 Republican congressmen believes that U.S. technology is pervasive throughout the entire supply chain. They argue that more comprehensive sanctions on Huawei are necessary to ensure that similar situations do not arise in the future. As a result, they jointly wrote a letter to the U.S. Department of Commerce, urging for a comprehensive implementation of sanctions against SMIC and Huawei. They called for the prohibition of importing chips produced by SMIC, revocation of all existing licenses, denial of new licenses, and the filing of charges against executives of both companies. Currently, Huawei and SMIC have been added to the entity list, which means that U.S. suppliers and other companies need to obtain special trade licenses to ship products to these two companies. The increased calls for sanctions on Huawei now demonstrate that the United States is concerned and dissatisfied with China's progress in the semiconductor field. Looking at it from a different perspective, it is actually an indirect recognition of China's technological advancements. Furthermore, it also indicates that the U.S. is facing challenges to its technological dominance and urgently needs to adopt a more aggressive stance and measures to curb China's development. Internally, there is a divide within the U.S. regarding whether to restrict Huawei. Republicans are attempting to pressure the Biden administration to adopt a tougher stance towards China. The U.S. sanctions on Huawei have not achieved their intended effects. Instead, they have fueled China's determination and capability to enhance independent innovation and self-sufficiency. Therefore, the more infuriated the U.S. becomes with Huawei, the more it showcases that China is on the right track. This is because China has not been intimidated by U.S. sanctions but has seized the opportunities for technological innovation, demonstrating its strength and resilience. Currently, Huawei continues to launch new products and services. It remains to be seen whether the U.S. can impede its progress or if China can outpace the restrictions. Thank you for watching our video. After watching the video, how do you think about the development of Huawei in the world? You can put your opinions and ideas in the comments below. We will keep on uploading new videos. So your subscribe and likes will encourage us to create new videos.